The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin by saying that I strongly support programs and operations that are funded by the Defense Nuclear Nonproliferation section of the underlying bill. Keeping loose nuclear materials, especially from places like the former Soviet Union states, out of the hands of America's enemies is one of the most important duties of the Department of Energy and the federal government as a whole. That being said, Congress has the obligation to set requirements and criteria for every dollar of taxpayer money that we spend, especially funds that are sent or used overseas. In fact, my colleagues on the Appropriations Committee already exercised this judgment with an additional provision in their bill that is very similar to the amendments that I will be offering today. Section 307 of the underlying bill specifically prohibits any DOE non-proliferation funds from being used to enter into new contracts or agreements with Russia, sending a strong signal to Mr. Putin and others that there are real consequences for their and destabilizing actions of the last few years. My amendment adds this section to the end of the bill. None of the funds made available in this act under the heading Defense Nuclear Nonproliferation may be made available to enter into new contracts with or new agreements for federal assistance to the Islamic Republic of Iran, except for contracts or agreements that require the Islamic Republic of Iran to cease the pursuit, acquisition, and development of nuclear weapons technology. If the last line of my amendment sounds familiar, it should. It's the very same language that Congress defined as total disarmament of Iran's weapons of mass destruction program when it passed the Comprehensive Iran Sanctions Accountability and Divestment Act of 2010. That bill passed the Senate by a vote of 99-0, and in the House 408-8. And only 2 of the members who voted no on that bill still serve here in Congress today. There's a lot to be worried about in President Obama's deal with Iran, but 2 serious concerns trump all of the others. First, how will Iran properly deal with and dispose of 14,000 centrifuges and 9,700 kilograms of highly enriched uranium that they are supposed to give up? If they are serious about not pursuing a bomb, what are they planning to do with the 6,000 centrifuges and 300 kilograms of uranium that they get to keep under this deal? On the first question, the website Vox, hardly a right-wing outlet, says that the disposal of these materials is an open question and that the negotiators punted on how to safely and effectively remove this material from Iran. Given that fact, there is every reason to believe that the DOE non-proliferation account is used for this purpose. The second question is even more troubling than the first. Michael Morrell, former director of the CIA, said back in February that the potential Iran nuclear agreement would limit Iran to the number of centrifuges needed for a weapon, but too few for a nuclear power program, a statement verified as true by PolitiFact. Iran's leaders have repeatedly said that they have no interest in developing a nuclear weapon, and over the years they have made that promise to the international community to gain relief from crippling economic sanctions. I don't trust Iran, but even if I did, I would still say that we follow President Reagan's charge that led us to victory when facing another nuclear foe: trust but verify. Let me be clear. If Iran proves that they are serious about giving up all their nuclear ambitions, I fully support using DOE non-proliferation assets to get their nuclear materials safely out of that country. Why, I'd even write the check myself to make sure that my grandkids don't grow up in a world where loose Iranian nuclear material makes its way to the black market or into the hands of terrorists. But Iran can't have one without the other. That's why my amendment will make sure that if DOE signs a contract with Iran to help remove nuclear material from Iran, it will also stipulate that they are giving up all efforts to build a bomb. This is a common-sense amendment that reiterates the position of Congress and the promises made by President Obama's negotiating team. I urge a yes vote, and I reserve the balance of my time, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Texas, for 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment is similar in nature to the one just offered, so I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks to ensure that my strong support for the Defense Nuclear Proliferation Program and the good work of the committee to properly fund it is once again reflected in the record. I rise to offer this second amendment to the Energy and Water Appropriations Bill. Clear to Iran and the world that the complete intrusive inspections of all Iranian civil and military sites are non-negotiable and must be part of any deal with Iran. My amendment adds this section to the end of the bill. None of the funds made available in this act under the heading Defense Nuclear Non-Proliferation may be made available to enter into new contracts with or new agreements for federal assistance to the Islamic Republic of Iran, except for contracts or agreements that include authority for the International Atomic Energy Agency to conduct anytime, anywhere inspections of civil and military sites within the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was encouraged to see Energy Secretary Moniz, President Obama's chief technical expert in the Iran negotiations, quoted as saying, "We expect to have anywhere, anytime access to conduct nuclear inspections of Iran." I share his view. Without these full, intrusive inspections, there is simply no way to fully and truly verify that Iran is complying with the terms of any deal they supposedly agree to. Unfortunately, the Iranians do not share the views of our secretary. Shortly after the secretary made these comments to Bloomberg News, Iranian Brigadier General Hossein Salami responded by saying, "Not only will we not grant foreigners the permission to inspect our military sites, we will not even give them permission to think about such a subject. They will not even be permitted to inspect the most normal military site in their dreams," unquote. Apologists for Iran say that they just need to say these types of things as well as maintain a limited nuclear stockpile in order to save face and to preserve their national pride. Well, Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to help the Iranians with their PR efforts, and neither did you and neither did anyone in this body. Our job is to keep the American people and the free world safe, and any deal with Iran that lifts sanctions but is not coupled with strict inspection requirements isn't just worth the paper it's written on. It will make us less safe. History can be our guide on this very subject. In one of his biggest but least discussed foreign policy failures, President Clinton in 1994 made a similar deal with North Korea that was supposed to end their nuclear ambitions and bring them into the international community. Sanctions were lifted, but we were given nothing but mischief and deception by the North Koreans in return. International inspectors were obstructed and blocked on a regular basis. North Korea continued to develop their nuclear program, only now in the shadows and in hardened underground facilities. In 2006, they successfully detonated a nuclear bomb, and they continued to develop and test long-range missiles and threaten their neighbors and the West. Instead of weakening the authoritarian regime that controls North Korea, the lifting of the sanctions and development of nuclear weapons allowed the Kims to tighten their grip on the country and pass it along to the next generation. Congress cannot allow President Obama's flawed deal on Iran to take us down this same path. Once again, if we're going to use DOE resources and taxpayer money to help Iran clean up the mess created by their nuclear ambitions, it should come with conditions. The most important condition should be that they permit the International Atomic Energy Agency to conduct anytime, anywhere inspections that are so essential to any nuclear reduction agreement. History and our own Energy Secretary tell us that this deal won't work without robust and full inspections. I urge a yes vote on this amendment and make sure that those inspections do happen. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from